show more of your feelings. If you feel this way, you should show it. If you want to cry, cry. Look, I have no problem with guys crying. Sometimes guys cry, right? My dad died, I cry. I've cried once in 10 years, but it's not a default emotion for me. Sometimes you cry, right? But what I'm saying is the reason they're trying to bring out emotionality in you is because of exactly what Myron said. Most of the time, you don't feel like doing the things you're supposed to do. But the true masculine frame throughout history was doing the things they didn't want to do, but they knew they had to do because they had honor and duty. That's what honor and duty means. Do you think the men on the Titanic wanted to stay on the fucking Titanic? No, we're men. We have to stay. We're scared, but we must. It's our duty to let the women and children on the lifeboats. This is masculine duty. When you remove self-control from men, you get, not only do you get emasculated weak men, but what you also get is very dangerous men. Because the world at large is trying to tell you, just be more in touch with your feelings and everything's going to be fine. Men also have an innate desire, one, for conquest, and two, we have a biological response. We are very predispositioned to anger. You look at all these school shooters and shit. These are men who can't control their emotions. That's all they are.
Facts.
They have no self-control. And then they go and do dangerous shit. A good man controls himself. I have absolute self-control. If I decide to smash your face in, it was a very conscious decision. Nothing to do with the fact I was angry. If I decide to shoot you in the face, it's a conscious decision. It's the best move on the chessboard. There's no anger involved. You understand? Emotional control is absolutely and utterly important as a man.
And you ended up, taking after your father and playing chess at a high level as well.
Correct. Yeah.
What draws you to chess? Because I grew up playing chess as well. So
yeah, so chess. I mean, obviously, my father was a chess master, right? So I had to learn the game. He sat me down. I spent a lot of time learning it, and to this day, I have massive respect for chess. So much respect for the game. It's so much harder at that world level than people can even fathom. Unless you even play the game, you can't even anticipate how good these people are at the game. They're effectively computers. I don't think you can even be good at chess at that level without having something a little bit wrong with you. You got to be on the spectrum somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Because it's crazy how good these guys are. But yeah, chess is an amazing thing. I still play chess every day. I'm not world level or anything. I'm around 1750, 1800 elo. If anyone knows chess, that's what I am. But yeah,
would that be considered better than average?
Certainly better than average.
Yeah.
The average player, let's say, is around 1,000 or something.
Okay.
But my dad was 2,400.
Okay.
Or 2,500.
Damn.
Okay. So yeah. So I'll give you an example. My dad could beat me without looking at the board. So my dad would be in the kitchen, fucking around the kitchen, cooking dinner. I'd be in front of a chessboard in the living room, and I'd say E4. He'd say C6. Knight F3, Knight C3.
God
and
damn.
boom, and he'd smoke me without looking at the board. That's how good the best chess players in the world are. Yeah, it's insanity.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a good basis for life. There's certainly a lot of lessons in chess. There's certainly a lot you can attribute to chess from everyday life to the chessboard. And I think it's a good grounding mechanism. I enjoy to sit down for a good couple hours, win some games, lose some games.
Right.
It's something I personally enjoy. So yeah,
Can you tell us some of those life lessons that you learned from playing chess with your father and applying it into real life?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll give you my favorite one first.
Yeah.
Please do.
My favorite one is the difference between the king and the queen. Right? Because the king moves one square at a time, and the queen can just zip across the board, right? So you're here in Miami, you're partying in Miami. They got all these parties right now. It's Art Basel, blah, blah, blah. You see all these chicks on a boat. For the man to get on that boat, it's one square at a time, right? He has to get a good job. He has to get his taxes right. He has to find a way to leverage credit. He has to meet the guy who sells the boats. He has to go through all this shit stage by stage by stage to finally pull off being on that yacht and having that yacht at the age of 56. A chick, what does she need? Lip fillers? Boom. Zip. On. She gets straight on. That's the difference between the king and the queen. But although the king is slower than the queen, he's the most important piece, right? The king can't die. The queen can die. The queen, sometimes you can be looking at a position and go, this is fucked up. The only way out of this is to sacrifice that bitch. Sometimes you can do it. I'll tell you a very quick story. This is a story I've never told before. When I was, how old was I? 23? When I was 23, I was dating a ballerina. She was the prima ballerina of the Cambridge Ballet School in England. And I had no money. I was a fighter, but I was coming up. I didn't really have any money. And she lived far away, like an hour and a half away, but she used to come see me, and we were good for like a year and a half. I loved this girl. Yeah. And she finished ballet school. She started dancing in clubs in London. She couldn't get any ballet work. Surprise, surprise. Who fucking wants ballet work, right? So she ends up doing like dancing and not stripping, but like dancing in the club, So now she's around all the London money every day. She's out dancing all the time. She's up late every night. She doesn't want to drive an hour and a half to come see me. None of this shit. So we're kind of falling apart a little bit. And she ended up talking to someone famous, David Hay. I don't know who he is, he's a boxer. So David Hay starts texting this bitch, right? Back and forth today. So anyway, when I finally saw her again, she was like, we had an argument. She's like, well, you know what? You think you're a fighter? This guy, that guy, this guy, that guy. I'm like, look, if you're going to go fuck idiots, at least do it for money. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, if you're going to go fuck idiots, at least get paid because they don't give a fuck about you. Like, if you're going to play this game, at least do it for money.
Right.
So I had this argument with her back and forth, and I explained to her that these men are just going to use you. If you're going to do it, at least get paid. And when she left the house, Tristan said, why are you telling her to fuck other dudes? I'm like, no, I'm just understanding that in my chess position, I've lost this game.
Right.
The game is done now. Just sooner or later, she's out. All we do is argue. She's in the club every night. I'm just trying to say, before she leaves, maybe I can get a little bit of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the queen sacrifice, right?
Right.
We broke up 3 months later. I don't know if she fucked him or not, or who she fucked. I don't know. I never spoke to her since. But that's kind of the analogy you have to be able to apply to life. Sometimes chicks got to go.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have to go to save the king. And too many dudes, most of the time, men truly lose at life. It's because they've attached themselves to a queen and they won't let her up. They won't sacrifice her. The knowledge that you're only going to learn the hard way. And even after I tell you, you're still not going to implement it because you don't learn anything unless it's learned the hard way. But at least if I tell you in advance when it happens, you can be like, oh yeah, I should have listened. So I'll tell you a few of them I found here. Young kings, how good are you on your worst day? Are you good enough on your worst day to beat your opponent on their best day? This is the key to unlimited success. This was said to me by my kickboxing coach. He said, we have to train like you're going to fight on your worst day. You might have a cold, might have COVID, might have fucking broke up with your bitch, car might have broke down, bad night's sleep, who knows? And he might have everything going right. Could be a fucking perfect day for him. It's been the best week of his life. If you get knocked out, are people going to start talking about, oh yeah, he got knocked out, but you know it was his worst day, and the other guy's best? Are they just going to say you lost? No room for excuses. You got to train that way. So people often talk about their personal best or the best I can do. If the best you can lift is 200 kilo on like a one-off sometimes, don't say you can lift 200 kilo. You can't lift 200 kilo. You can lift 150 kilo every single time on your worst day. That's where your real performance level is, your worst day. Keep that in mind. Young kings, too many of you value money as if money will save you from yourself. Every single one of you reading this should be focusing entirely on changing who you are as a man. You are where you deserve to be, and no amount of money will change who you are. I think I've told this story before. I've told it on a few podcasts. Anyone who watches my podcast will know. I've said this loads of times. Money is an amplifier. You don't watch this channel because I'm rich. You watch this channel because not only am I rich and I made it all myself, which is unique, but I'm the big G. I was the big G before I was rich. Now the money amplifies, right? I was a street dog. Now I got much money, my teeth are bigger. But if I never had any teeth, money ain't gonna change anything. I use this analogy all the time. If you see a Lambo pull up and a dork gets out, you're gonna think he's some super fucking crypto tech dork. He becomes a massive mega dork. If you see a Lambo pull up and a big G gets out, now he's a mob boss. The car amplifies who the person is. It doesn't change who the person is. The car is not going to make the geek a mob boss. It's just going to amplify who he already was. Money's an amplifier. So a lot of you people are out here chasing money. You need to strongly look at who you are as a character in the simulation. I know in the simulation I'm the final boss. You know it. You're fighting the enemies. You walk into the last room. It's Tate. You're like, oh, for fuck's sake. I'm the final boss in the simulation. I was that before I had money. But you need to look at yourself as a character and decide who you are and decide if having all of those qualities amplified is going to be a good thing. If you're a little simp for pussy, if you're a little bitch for women, and you get rich, you think you're going to be less of a bitch? You think you're not going to be a playboy? Fuck no. You're going to get taken to the cleaners, my friend. You think because you're going to buy a nice car and you're going to be the playboy, you're going to be able to tell those bitches to fuck off? Zero.